Good morning. I am Mrs. S. Rajalakshmi, Assistant Professor in the Department of History, Fatima College, Madurai. Now we are going to see about Aristotle. He was an ancient Greek philosopher who is widely considered one of the greatest intellectual figures in Western history. A student of Plato at the Academy of in Athens, and tutor to Alexander the Great, grafted a political philosophy grounded in empirical observation and practical governance. His masterwork, Politics, examines how communities can achieve the good life through virtuous citizenship and balanced government structure. Classification of government forms. Aristotle developed a systematic typology of constitutions, distinguishing between legitimate and corrupt forms based on two criteria: the number of rulers and whether they govern for common or private interest. Kingship versus tyranny. Legitimate, rule by one for the common good; corrupt, rule by one for personal benefit. Autocracy versus oligarchy. Legitimate, rule by virtuous few for all citizens; corrupt, rule by wealthy few for private gain. Politics versus democracy. Legitimate, rule by many for common interest; corrupt, rule by poor majority for themselves. Two dimensions of justice. Aristotle's conception of justice encompasses both the fair distribution of resources and the correction of wrongs. These complementary forms work together to maintain social harmony and equity within the polis. Distributive justice allocates honor, wealth, and resources proportionally based on merit and contribution to society. Those who contribute more receive more, but distribution follows rational principles rather than arbitrary preferences. Proportional allocation based on merit, recognition of varying contributions, fair distribution of common resources. Corrective justice restores balance when wrong occurs, treating all parties as equals regardless of status. This form addresses transaction, contracts, and injuries, seeking to return parties to their rightful position. Rectification of voluntary transaction, compensation for involuntary harms, arithmetic equality in corrections. Active citizenship and virtue. For Aristotle, citizenship transcends mere residency. It requires active participation in judicial and deliberative functions. The ideal citizen doesn't simply follow laws but helps create them, engaging directly in governance to shape the community's direction. Political participation, judicial involvement, moral development, community sustenance. Political participation, citizens engage in assemblies, debates, and decision making processes that determine community direction. Judicial involvement, serving on injuries and in legal proceedings, ensures justice reflects communal values. Moral development, civic engagement, cultivates practical wisdom and ethical character in citizens. Community sustenance, active citizenship maintains the police morals fabric and ensures its continuity. Establishing middle class, foundation of political balance. Conclusion: a philosophy for balanced governments. Aristotle's political philosophy offers timeless wisdom for understanding governance, empirical foundation, constitutional balance, active citizenship, social stability. His insight into justice, citizenship, and the common good continue for informing contemporary political discourses. By advocating for participatory democracy tempered by constitutional restraint, Aristotle's visions remains remarkably relevant. The state exists not merely for living, but for living well, a truth that resonates across millennia of political development. Thank you. Good morning. I am Mrs. S. Radhalakshmi, Assistant Professor in the Department of History, Fatima College, Madurai. Now we are going to see about Plato. He was a philosopher, an Athenian philosopher. He founded the Academy, the first institution of higher learning in the Western world. Plato stands as a seminal figure in Western philosophy, establishing foundational principles that continue to resonate through academia and culture. As a disciple of Socrates and a mentor to Aristotle, his work forged profound connections between metaphysical inquiry, epistemological exploration, and enduring philosophical traditions that shape our understanding of reality, knowledge, and governance. Theory of forms. Plato's theory of forms represent the cornerstones of his metaphysical worldview. He posited that beyond our physical realm lies the transcendent domain of immutable, eternal forms, the true entities of reality. The perceptible world we experience is merely an imperfect reflection of these forms, embodying appearances rather than fundamental truths. This dualist perspective underscores a reality discernible only through intellectual rigor and the philosopher's dedicated pursuit of knowledge. The forms exist independently of human perceptions, representing perfect ideals that material objects can relay approximate. Physical world, imperfect reflections and shadows of truth. Realm of forms, eternal, immutable perfection and reality. The allegory of the cave, Plato's most famous metaphor, illustrates the humanity's journeys from ignorance to enlightenment. Prisoners chained in a cave see only shadows on the wall, mistaking these illusions for reality. When freed, they ascend towards the light, gradually perceiving the true nature of existence. Shadow and illusion, that's a prisoners perceive only distorted reflection representing ignorance and sensory deception, recognition and doubt, initial confusion as reality challenges long held beliefs and perceptions. Ascent to light is an understanding through philosophical inquiry and intellectual development. Knowledge of forms, ultimate comprehension of eternal truths, and the form of the good. The divided line. Plato's divided line categorizes the ascent of mind through four distinct stages of understanding, progressing from the lowest forms of awareness to the highest intellectual comprehension. The journey from illusion to pure intelligence represents the philosopher's path towards ultimate truth and understanding. The ideal state. In the Republic, Plato advanced the revolutionary notion of a state governed by philosopher kings, rulers possessing both the knowledge of the good and philosophical wisdom. His vision of the ideal state rests on a tripartite class structure that mirrors his conception of the soul's organization. Philosophical kings, reason, rulers who govern with wisdom and knowledge of the forms, guiding society toward justice and truth. Guardians, spirit, warriors, and protectors who defend the state with courage and honor, maintaining order. Producers, appetite, farmers, artisans, and merchants who provide material needs through temperance and Good morning, everybody. I am Mrs. S. Rajalakshmi, Assistant Professor, the Department of History, Fatima College, Madurai. Now we are going to learn about Socrates. the father of Western philosophy. He was born in Athens. He served in the Peloponnesian War as an infantry soldier. He was known for his indifference to material possessions. His philosophy focused on ethics, morality, and exploring questions and how one should live life, all these things. His primary contribution is the Socratic method or Elanchus, a form of cooperative, argumentative dialogue to stimulate critical thinking. This is famously linked to his claim, I know that I know nothing. The important principles of Socrates, the main important one is the examined life. He famously stated that the unexamined life is not worth living. He believed that true fulfillment comes from constantly questioning and examining one's own life and beliefs. Then, virtue is knowledge. He argued that a good person cannot be harmed, and that anyone who knows what virtue is will act virtuously. People do wrong, in his view, only because they are ignorant of what is really good. Then, care for the soul. Socrates prioritized care of the soul or the cultivation of virtue and wisdom. He believed this was more important than external goods like wealth or status, etc. The most important thing, the Socratic method, this method of inquiry involved engaging in public dialogue, using a series of questions to expose contradictions and encourage critical thinking in others. He thought that happiness is not a result of external goods, but of internal virtue and the wise use of one's reason. Therefore, virtue and happiness are linked. What is known about Socrates comes primarily from the accounts of his students and contemporaries, most notably the dialogues of Plato and the writings of Xenophon and Aristotle. His influence was so profound that earlier philosophers are referred to as pre-Socratics, and he is widely regarded as the father of Western philosophy. Thank you.